A lot of times we only focus on the bigger picture. Why? But it's the details of the picture we gotta remember. That right. I know we on the way. Gotta know we on the way. Yeah, it's time to make a play. Swear it's time to make a play. Let me tell the world the truth. Gotta tell the world something. Hard times never stay. Hard times never stay. Keep going till you get it. Man, you gotta keep going. Solid plan put in place. Gotta put a plan in place. Let me tell the world the truth. Let me tell the world the truth. I know we on the way. Gotta know we on the way.
Welcome to BYU Sports Nation on BYU Football Pro Day 2023, presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. Alongside Jarom Jordan, I am Spencer Linton. Let's kick this off with today's headlines, beginning with BYU football, spring ball. They have a close scrimmage tomorrow. Of course, the Pro Day thing taking center stage today. Spring scrimmage and alumni game will all happen next Friday.
Baseball lost 11-8 to St. Mary's in Game 1 of the opening West Coast Conference home series. The Cougars and Gales play again today at 5 Eastern on BYUtv and BYU radio apps.
BYU softball had another game canceled yesterday against Utah State. No word on it that game's going to be rescheduled yet. They do have a doubleheader, the Batcats, or rather the Cougars, scheduled against Idaho State tomorrow beginning at 3 Eastern live on BYU TV. It's snowing. We'll see if the snow melts in time.
Yep, baseball got in yesterday. Softball did not. 8th-ranked men's volleyball hosts 7th-ranked Pepperdine tonight, 9 Eastern on BYU TV. Big game for the Cougars, undefeated at home, coming off a bye week. Big wins versus Ohio State, who beat #1 Penn State on Tuesday, by the way, 2 weeks ago.
Again, Pro Day has arrived at the indoor practice facility, and we're going to show you as much as we possibly can, discuss it all over the next 2 hours. We should note that measurements and the bench press have already happened, so we're going to be playing catch-up to a degree, but that's okay. Like I said, we got 2 full hours to discuss everything and profile every single one of these BYU football players looking to push forward with their pro football aspirations.
Yeah, they're doing the vertical right now. They're doing the broad jump as well. Measurements already happened, so you got height, weight, hand, arm, wingspan. Obviously, certain positions matter more for some of that, like Jaron Hall's hand being 9.5 inches, confirmed today from Indianapolis, is a big deal. The reach of Blake Freeland somehow got 1/8 shorter today from Indianapolis, from 33 7/8 to 33 6/8. That is a good enough number typically for a tackle thereabouts. And so the measurements have already occurred. Jaron Hall, 6 foot 206, only 1 pound lighter than what he was in Indianapolis. Blake Freeland is listed at 6'7" here, not 6'8" from Indianapolis, and exactly 302 pounds. Those kinds of things have already occurred.
All 32 NFL teams represented here today, which is fantastic.
Only team in the state that can say that.
Only team in the state that can say all 32 teams represented by the National
Assuming
Football
they got
League
through the
today.
snow. Okay, we're assuming they made it down and everything's good.
We will have a ton of guests today. David Nixon and Dave McCann will join us to break down what they are seeing. They are also with us in the indoor practice facility, taking a close look at all of the different events and measurements, and they're going to have some all-access insight as well. We'll be joined by head coach Kalani Sitake from BYU Football, among those other A-list guests. Again, the drills that athletes will participate in today: the bench press, vertical jump, broad jump, vertical jump happening right now. This is Chris Jackson attempting his vertical. The broad jump, 40-yard dash is always something that everybody wants to watch and see. And we feel like, and I don't know why this is, but if you have a good 40, all of a sudden, like that's the metric that could potentially get you some more attention.
And it depends on the position, right? So let's walk through like what those. So 40 obviously is speed acceleration. For a lineman, it's the 10-yard split. For a wide receiver, it's the 20 to 40-yard number, and then for a running back, it's the 10 to 20-yard number. Vertical explosion. That's most relevant for receivers like Chris Jackson here, who goes on his second attempt, and safeties. 20-yard shuttle run. That is lateral speed and agility, mostly receivers on that one. Bench, obviously endurance strength, not straight up strength, because that would be just like, what's your max, right? And what do you squat? Bench is about endurance strength. You get one attempt. You gotta extend all the way out. Blake Freeland, we'll show you in a second. He had 2 reps that weren't counted because he didn't extend all the way up. And then broad jump, explosive power around the ankles and hips, great indicator for running back specifically.
All right, after the 40-yard dash, 20-yard shuttle, Jarom talked about it, the L drill, but we're going to go to the bench press right now and look at, Jarom, the man you refer to as a superhero, Chris Brooks. He looks like a
one,
superhero
right?
on the bench. This is Chris Brooks on the bench press.
So he was the first one to go, and he really set the tone here a few minutes ago, because he goes out and every rep counted on this, and Chris Brooks puts up a bench of 21, which is a nice number.
21 reps at 225 pounds. You see every single one of them, and Brooks really fighting at the end. That's not a bad number for a running back.
And at the NFL Combine this year, that would have been tied for second.
There you go.
So that's a really good number. Obviously, Chris Brooks' strengths are the fact that he is a big dude. He is strong. He is kind of an upright runner. Probably better than you thought this year in how he performed. I think when the dust settled, he was better than we thought. He actually averaged 6 yards a carry this year. He was good for BYU.
Let's stay with Blake Freeland on the bench now. Again, 225 pounds. Freeland doesn't have to do as much, we don't think, today, because his numbers at the main NFL Combine were so good.
This was the only event he did not do, and it might in Indianapolis. This is the only event he might do today. He has nothing to prove in the other drills, and he had 2 reps, as we mentioned, that did not count. He put up 27. They subtracted 2, ends up getting 25 reps. And among offensive linemen at the Combine, that would have been kind of on the lower end. So not as strong in this particular performance as he was in the 40 and the vertical and the broad jump and 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle in Indianapolis.
Freeland, 91st overall prospect according to the NFL mock draft database. He's a 3rd-round projection. And we'll see if all it takes is one team to like if he can sneak into the 2nd round. Now we stay on bench with Caleb Hayes. And Caleb Hayes is one of those guys that we thought maybe could really benefit from a big-time pro day here today. If the bench press is any indication of what his day is going to be like, Jarom, and frankly what we've seen in the vertical jump, he's going to have a great day and really, really get some attention from these 32 NFL teams.
Yes, had a tremendous junior year at BYU. Senior year was good, was as good as the junior year, but Caleb Hayes, the guy that started at Oregon State, played under was recruited by Columbus, Kentucky there, transfers to BYU, ends up being a tremendous corner, and those 21 reps on the bench would have been tied for the 17 on the bench would have been tied for second to Clark Phillips, the third, of course, from Utah, who might be a first-round pick. So well done on the bench press by Caleb Hayes.
Here is Houston Heimuli trying to bring back the lost art of the fullback in the NFL. Heimuli has really trimmed down. If you just see him, like, he's really trimmed down from what he was packing around during the regular season. And he is pumping the reps right now.
Okay, he gets 31. I mean, 31, tremendous. And it shows his strength. I think of all the drills in this is where he was going to crush it the most, is straight up strength. Houston's never, and he's a Haymo, never questioned the strength of Heimuli. We always say that around the office.
31 reps of 225 pounds. I'll be interested to see what Houston could do during the 40. I know that fullbacks aren't necessarily known for their speed, but he's a guy that's trying to break in on special teams specifically, and you got to show that agility and some speed along with the strength on special teams.
31 reps, by the way, at the Combine would have been tied for 5th among everybody.
Every player.
Every player, as you saw on the graphic. Now, a big one here for Puka. And Puka caught at the NFL Combine. He did not do anything else. So every measurable is the first here.
Puka Nacua, a guy that we learned from Cam Mellor yesterday of College Football Network that could really improve his draft stock the most in his opinion. He's been the most erratic. We've seen him all over the place from late 3rd round at some points all the way into the 7th round, averaging out at about a 5th round pick. Puka Nacua, big day today, could really help him. Of the big 3, in my side, big 3, the 3 guys we believe are absolutely going to be drafted in Jaron Hall, Puka Nacua, and Blake Freeland.
At least BYU's best draft hopefuls. Freeland drafted for sure. We believe Nacua and Hall as well. He ends up going with 15 reps there. That would have been 10th among all wide receivers. Puka Nacua, by the way, third highest PFF career grade among all draft-eligible receivers at 90.5. For him to slide to the 7th would be an atrocity to me. He is so good. He's a game changer, and certainly 15 on the bench doesn't show all of his skill and strength in particular, but Puka should be early third day if that 4th, 5th round.
This is Lorenzo Fauatea on the bench as well. And going back to Nacua, he's a guy that I don't think anybody doubts his playmaking ability. It's just his sustainability and the health of his ankle, and he's had some concerns on and off there. He just hasn't been able to stay on the field, and I think that people want to see what he can do and how healthy he looks today in all of the events. Speaking of, this is the vertical jump. All right, Nacua, great athlete, got another bar there at the top after his initial jump.
Yep, second rep there. We'll get that number as soon as we have it. Today is more like a gymnastics meet than it is typical BYU Sports Nation, of course, because we got rotations, we got scores coming in. We don't have an overall like in gymnastics that we've seen this season. But multiple events going on as we speak. You can see D'Angelo Mandel in the broad jump. That is important for a cornerback like D'Angelo, who has some of those measurables, we think, to be an interesting, at least mini-camp guy somewhere.
All right, one more time with Puka Nacua on the vertical jump. As Jarom mentioned, we'll get you those specific numbers when they do become official.
Got another one.
And he has continued to improve his vertical jump through the following reps after that initial go. You noticed moments ago, Mandel on that broad jump, they will measure where the back of your heel hits. And so I think a lot of people think it's from where your toe lands. No, it's from where the back of your heel lands in that broad jump.
Imagine, you know, long
someone
jump, triple jump.
Well, and someone who's got a bigger foot too, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm size 15, so I benefited there. Here's Gunnar Romney, who has the best mustache in Pro Day by far.
Yeah, this was absolutely a concerted, intentional effort on his part to come with the great mustache.
I'm actually 32.
But we joked yesterday he's going to be one of the guys to show up and just look physically ready for this day. And a guy like Puka Nacua has really struggled to stay healthy during his career at BYU. But when he's been on the field, Jarom, he's been a big-time playmaker. And there is his first vertical jump attempt.
33 inches, by the way, for Puka. Pretty good number. Chris Brooks put up a 37. Caleb Hayes put up a 40.
Well, and we heard that a couple of minutes ago. We heard the live reaction to that from people that are watching the indoor practice facility. So
it's mainly the teammates.
17 reps on the bench for Caleb, 17 reps on the bench, and a 40-inch vertical for Caleb Hayes.
So far, he is winning the Jonah Trinnaman Award, which is Pro Day All-Star. Like, Jonah was a good receiver on Pro Day, absolutely crushed it. Got a chance with the Jets, and maybe he wouldn't have if he didn't have a great pro day with that athleticism. We should mention, by the way, this is the last BYU-specific pro day. And if for any Big 12 team, the last specific pro day that they are holding, because next year we're going to be in Frisco, Texas at the Cowboys practice facility, and the Big 12 will hold a Big 12 combine.
Which is a great idea.
It sounds great. My only, I have a question about some of the other guys who are sort of off the radar. Will they be able to participate? The Lorenzo Fauatea, Matthew Criddle of the world, who here certainly get a look. Will they get that opportunity? Will there be any kind of cap on who can go? I hope not.
Does the league mandate that a school can't hold an additional pro day if they do this combined?
I've been told that you cannot hold your own.
Interesting.
And it's all the Big 12.
I mean, that would make sense because you want all of the emphasis on the conference and you want to make it a bigger deal.
And the pro of that is you get every NFL team represented. That is not an issue for BYU here, though. They have every team here, and they have, it feels like, the last several years. And if it hasn't been every team, it's been all but one or two. So it's not an issue for a team like BYU to get that added exposure. Certainly being live on NFL Network will be cool. This is live on BYUtv. Like, the exposure is there. And so we'll see Puka Nacua here in the long jump. But it is exciting. It's another Brett Yormark idea that you're like, why haven't we thought of this sooner? That's when you know it's a great idea, when you think that thought.
Yeah, the long jump or broad jump is another area where I expect Puka Nacua to really put up some decent numbers.
I expect in every athletic thing that Puka would excel.
He's so explosive.
I think he's the most athletic receiver BYU's ever had. He's incredible. Again, if he had played 3+ years here at BYU and put up the numbers, I think we'd talk about him as the greatest.
You put him
Austin Collie to me is the greatest
in the conversation
receiver.
with Austin Collie?
Yeah. Yes. I think
even better.
If he would have put up numbers similar to Austin, I would have given it to Puka because of the schedule that Puka went up against.
This is Joe Tukuafu on the vertical jump.
How often does an O-lineman jump? You're looking for explosiveness. That's the idea. Obviously, a lineman's not jumping, but you're looking for general athleticism. Remember, I mentioned Jonah Trineman. Ziggy Ansah came to this event and crushed it so hard that he became the 5th pick in the draft with 4.5 sacks as a defensive lineman. You can really make some money today.
Just unbelievable measurables for Ziggy. Here is Gunnar Romney on the long jump. Note back on Tukuafu. He's one of 3 offensive linemen involved here today, joining Harris LaChance, who's a guy who kind of gets lost in the shadow of, these NFL prospects of Brady Christensen and Blake Freeland. Harris has been around a long time. The Barrington brothers who both transferred to Baylor. Those guys have been on NFL radars.
Yep.
Harris LaChance is a guy that's looking to take his opportunity today and say, hey, I was on a really good offensive line in 2020, in 2021, and 2022. Pay attention to me. But he, too, has gone through a rash of injuries. And so Harris LaChance is another name along with Joe Tukuafu to look at as far as BYU offensive linemen go.
Puka Nacua goes 10-1 in the broad. That would have been kind of near the bottom of the NFL Combine.
Interesting. I would expect a little bit more from Puka, again, because he's such an athlete.
Yes. To be top 6, you got to go 11+. To be kind of top 15, you got to go at least 10-10.
One more for Gunnar Romney.
Which, by the way, Caleb Hayes 10-8. It's the high so far.
Romney has completed his 2nd long jump attempt. We'll get those numbers to you as soon as we find out about them.
And again, for the broad jump, it's explosive power around the ankles and hips. It's especially a great indicator for running backs specifically.
Here's Peyton Wilgar.
Oh, yeah, Peyton Wilgar.
With his vertical jump, a guy who 2 years ago was what felt like a surefire late day 2, early day 3 draft pick. And I feel like a broken record when I'm talking about some of these guys, but it is so tough to stay on the field in such a physical gauntlet of a sport. And Peyton Wilgar has been through the ringer with a number of injuries, shoulders, knees. So good to see him healthy and participating in Pro Day today. We're going to take our first break on BYU Sports Nation from BYU Football Pro Day.
And our question of the day is this.
Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork offers a large inventory of Ford vehicles, including a selection of cars and trucks, providing a range of transportation choices. From the Ford Fusion sedan and the Edge crossover SUV to a range of pickups including the F-150. Each product line comes with options to enhance performance, comfort, and safety. Think Ford, think Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork.
I came from literally a broken home.
That was the day I met Metro Man, and our rivalry was born.
I'm done.
Wait, what?
How did you do this? You left us in the hands of him! No offense.
No, I'm with you.
Megamind, the city needs you.
I'm the bad guy. I don't save the day, and I don't get the girl. Let's just have fun with this. Come on.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation on BYU Football Pro Day. We are in the indoor practice facility alongside Jarom Jordan. I'm Spencer Linton. Our question of the day is this: as you look at Peyton Wilgar on the broad jump, what's the most impressive thing you have seen at BYU's Pro Day thus far? And I know we still have a ways to go, but this is interactive. You tell us what you see and what you like as it happens. Greg Romano has answered on Twitter, says having all 32 NFL teams represented is a credit to the BYU administration and athletics department, the football staff, former players, the media department, and The Rock. Each has contributed to the foundation of BYU's athletic success. Having all NFL teams attend today's Pro Day attests to that success.
Yeah, it's awesome to have it. That means every team is interested in somebody here. And again, that crew from that young group in 18 and 19 is really blossoming here in the 23 Pro Day. We've seen the last couple of drafts be really successful for BYU. We anticipate the BYU's back in the NFL draft game. There were a few years there where BYU was not. It was like one pick every other year. Nope, BYU's in the multi-draft game now, and we hope that it's more akin to what it was in, 21, where BYU had 5. We think it might be as many as 3, right? Maybe someone puts up some numbers today that gets them in.
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned the 5 in the spring of 2021. Tyler Algier was the lone draft pick in 2022, and now we anticipate there will be 3.
The way he played in his rookie year.
That's 9 total draft picks in a 3-year span, which, I mean, we were discussing when this show began back in 2013, 2014, that we hope to have 1 draft pick per year on average.
Yeah, that's pathetic.
That has changed.
BYU should be in the 3+ game.
It's definitely changed. Joining us now on set is former BYU and NFL linebacker, a member of our BYU Sports Nation game day crew. He is David Nixon. David, let's ask you the question of the day. What's the most impressive thing you've witnessed thus far at the indoor practice facility?
Well, you guys alluded to it. It's early. There's still the more impressive things to be had. But I've been impressed with the vertical jump. I mean, you look at the guys that put up numbers. You've got a few of them 35+. Bench press is kind of about where we thought it would be. Blake Freeland put up 25, which for a lineman is good. You want to be 30+, but for him and injuries, things like that coming off, that's a positive number. For me, the atmosphere, once again, you guys touched on it, the atmosphere. I joked that when I came here, I was like running 40-yard dashes, trying to dodge little kids running out there. Not really. But here, this is just top-notch. It's first class. And I think the scouts, I was talking to some of the scouts earlier, and they're always impressed with the way that BYU puts on this event, because that's what it is. It's an event. It's a way for these players to showcase themselves. And ultimately, you're helping the program in BYU by putting these guys on a big stage and allow them to do what they got to do, and allowing the scouts to kind of be comfortable and be able to witness these guys go to work.
A programming note that I should make mention of as far as this 2-hour show goes. They are wrapping up the broad jump and the vertical jump right now. Jake Oldroyd is going to kick next, and that will be followed by the always interesting 40-yard dash. So Oldroyd's going to kick, then the 40.
We have the most exciting thing here, and then the 40. I talked to Jake. He said, hey, make sure everybody knows the field goal posts are 7 yards behind the end zone. So it's not up at the end zone right now. His holder was going to be here at 11, but the scouts said, hey, we'd like you to go a little early. So it looks like he'll kick off the tee. And so whatever yard line he's at, you add 17. Like a typical kick where the snap goes back 7. So anything that we see there, we certainly have it looks like, is that Britton Hogan, long snapper? So for some punts here, perhaps from Jake. But Jake has an opportunity as well. Certainly, Jake's high was real high. The first half of 2019, he's leading the country with 10 of 11. He's making 50-plusers on the reg. Obviously, 2016 is his first field goal attempt as a game winner against Arizona with those neon cleats, which he wore on senior day, which was fun. And then 2020 was his best year. He's a Lou Groza finalist, top 3 there. He was incredible.
He didn't miss a field goal.
Of note, he makes 16 in a row between 21 and 22. He's BYU's all-time leading point scorer. We don't talk about him in the same breath as Tyler Haws and Jimmer Fredette, but that's what he is for football with field goals and points and whatnot. I know it's different, but Jake has a chance here to impress some scouts and get a look because he's got a huge leg, and when he's dialed in, and obviously that's important for a kicker, he is as good as anybody, but he's got to be dialed in to get that opportunity.
All right, well, Jake Oldroyd prepares to kick and show off his skill set. David, I want to take you big picture again. You already alluded to it a little bit, how this event has changed from when you participated in it. And it hasn't been that long. You're not that old.
Not that old.
But it's pretty wild.
I don't know. 09 has been 14 years.
It's pretty wild how this thing has shifted and what it has evolved into here.
100%. It's funny. We were talking about earlier on the field when you guys were getting ready. It's been 14 years, whatever it has been, but it feels like it was yesterday. I mean, I literally remember this exact same feeling. In fact, I feel a little bit anxious and a little bit nauseous for these guys because so much work goes into this, right? I mean, these guys, since the season's been over, they've been training every single day, not for football, but for these drills.
Yeah.
So you work every day. You maybe stay here locally. I went to California, down to LA, where you have nice weather. We can get out and train every day. And you work on your hand placement. You work on your footwork for a 3-cone drill, for the shuttle drill. How many steps you take? How do you reach? On the 40-yard drill, how do you stay low out of your, right when you come out of the gates, how to stay low your first 10 yards, and then you get into your drive phase, and you continue from there. So there's so much that goes into work. Even the bench press. You practice this, and you realize, okay, you need to take a break at some point. So pump out. How many can you pump out? So you have a goal in your head. I think mine was like 15. Get to 15 first. Take a break. Try to pump out another 5 to 7. Take a break. And so there's this method to all this madness, and it's crazy to watch it. These guys go out there. You see them warming up, and they've all got their exact same routines that they've been practicing now for three full months. And now today you get to put it on display, and there's a lot of anxiety, but there's, it's also fun to go out there and do it, and then know that after today, you can go back to eating cheeseburgers, and you can go back and just relax a little bit. You don't have to worry about doing all these crazy drills, because these are the only time you'll do these drills, right? I mean, after this happens, you don't go to a camp and all of a sudden they're like, hey, drop down, give me that 40. I need the 3-cone drill. After this drill, after we do some pass rush and stuff, give me the 3-cone drill real quick. I mean, it doesn't happen. So it's just one day you got to crank it out, but they've been working hard for this moment. And so far, the numbers are coming up. They're impressive.
What'd you get in the bench?
I got 27 reps.
That would have been tied second at the combine this year.
I will say this.
Good,
it was pretty good. I'll say this. I wasn't always the strongest guy. I mean, I could put up good numbers, but guys would max more than I would per se, but I always had pretty decent endurance.
Endurance strength.
Yeah.
It's
different. So, yeah, they obviously don't go out here and say, okay, let's see, can you throw up 400 plus? This is a pure endurance play, and fortunately I was pretty good at that. But
do you think at some point we'll have more nuance for certain positions in this situation? Because it feels like it's, certain things you go, okay, that's more for the receiver safeties. In a vertical jump, that's receiver safeties. In broad jump, ankles and hips with running backs and so on we've been talking about. Do you think at some point this gets a little more specific per position?
They've been doing it for so long. I think this is just a good
centralized
baseline metric that you can put it across the board. Where I think we don't put as much emphasis on it are the drills. So eventually, after this is all said and done, the scouts and all the teams here will pull aside certain players and say, listen, Ben Wilgar, I want to see you do the W drill. I want to see you do a bag drill. I want to see you do some ball drills. And so that's where you start to showcase. And that's where you do position-specific type things. But this is just, this is just you're seeing, are these guys athletes? Frankly, they know all these guys out here. They've been watching them all season long on the football field, right? So there's not going to be really any surprises out here. All these scouts, they've done their homework. They've watched the film. Now they're coming out here and just, does it pass the eye test? Is there anything, does a guy go put up 30 reps on bench press? Does a guy all of a sudden jump 40 inches that we didn't quite know about, you couldn't see on the film? Okay, well, yeah, now I'm going to go to bat for that guy. And that's why the scouts, this is a big deal for the scouts, because if they can go find that diamond in the rough, I mean, that's their job today. Everyone knows about Puka. Everyone knows about Jaron, right? Can they go find that diamond in the rough that can come in as a free agent and all of a sudden make a splash? And that's when they get to go to their GM, to their team, the player personnel team, say, listen, I need a promotion. I found a Peyton Wilgar who came out and went to camp and became a starter one day. I need a promotion because I found that guy, right? And so this is a big day for the scouts, too, because they're trying to find that, like I said, that diamond in the rough.
Who is that guy for BYU? Is there one this year?
For me, initially, just through the drills we've seen so far, how about Chris Brooks?
Chris Brooks looks great. We thought this might happen, and Caleb Hayes is right there with
Caleb Hayes
winning
has
the
had
Jonah
showing.
Tournament Award. That's what I call it, the Pro Day MVP.
But, you know, coming up to this, Chris Brooks had a good showing at the Senior Bowl. You know, and he's
Hula Bowl.
Hula Bowl. He's had some impressive showings, and there's been some talk about him. You know, and he looks great as well. And as you should. Listen, if you come into this and you're overweight or you're sloppy, we've known from the national media they take note that you should be in the best shape of your life today. And like I said, after that, you can kind of let yourself go a little
Why'd
bit.
you look at us when you said that?
Well, I think all of us, we all do. Well, we're in our best shape right now. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah, something like that.
I did my 50 push-ups and sit-ups this morning.
There you go. You're on target.
Good job, Kyle Collinsworth. You're halfway there.
That's big rush of 5. Jake Oldroyd is
I ate
kicking
a breakfast sausage sandwich
in
in
the
here.
indoor practice facility. We'll show you some certain aspects of this, and then we will push toward the 40-yard dash.
No, this is the most important thing here. Let's go.
David, was there an event or a metric or a measurement that you felt like was more important and put you on the radar more than some of the other drills when you were attempting to break into the NFL?
You know, it's kind of cliche, but it's that 40-yard dash, especially for a linebacker. That's where you can set yourself apart between being in that 4.5 range versus the 4.6 or 4.7s. And so the 40 I think for a linebacker, especially with where the game's headed in the NFL, we talk about this all the time. It's a passing league, and they've made the rules to where it's a passing league. People want to see more points, they want to see more deep balls, et cetera. And so linebackers, you now have to cover some sideline to sideline. You got to cover quick backs out of the backfield, and so it's all about speed. And for me, it was the 40. I'd say the second most important for me was a three cone drill and then the shuttle drill, because that's for linebackers. Those are the type of drills that can see your change of pace, the way you're able to use your hips, and so there's a lot of weight put on those drills, and so those are kind of my 3 main emphasis ones. I mean, nobody really cares about the broad jump. I mean, even the vertical, right? Vertical is important for DBs and wide receivers. Can you go up and get the ball,
yes,
right? Can you contest it? Linebacker, not so much. I mean, it's a nice metric to show if you're athletic or not. But the 3-cone shuttle, and that's the thing about each position. Like, you got linemen out here that are doing, 8 feet broad jump. Who cares?
It
right?
doesn't matter.
Who cares? But on the bench, they better be putting up impressive numbers,
numbers,
if you want to be looked at. So it matters. And listen, these guys come in here with a game plan in their head. They got to know which drills they got to perform well in and which ones they don't really care about. And so I mean, this is a whole. There's a science to this whole thing, and so far so good.
So far, we have not seen Jaron Hall participate in any of the measurables.
Except for the measurements.
Exactly. But none of the 6 drills. We'll see if he does any of them. There was conversation of perhaps he might have tweaked the ankle that he injured against Stanford at Senior Day. Not exactly sure on that. Not saying that happened. But if he's healthy and able, I think he needs to perform in some of the measurables. Yesterday, Cam Mellor told us, hey, I think Puka Nacua does need to participate in some of the measurables. And he has so far in all 3. 15 on the bench press, 33-inch vert, 10-1 broad jump so far.
All right, let's get you caught up on a few things. Jake Oldroyd was successful kicking from 30 and 35 yards. He's now moved back to 40 yards.
He did not have success in the 40s this year. That was really where he struggled. So
this is from 45 yards.
And hopefully
right
he's perfect in all of these, right? Because there's no pass rush, there's no snap.
And that one has been pushed wide right.
I saw him attempt a 65-yarder earlier. It was a little short, but it was in his warm-up. I just saw the one. He might have made a couple.
All right. We're going to take our second break. Harvey Longy, NFL defensive linebacker, is going to join us on this BYU Sports Nation BYU Pro Day from the IPF. But not before we remind everyone that baseball is going to attempt to play a game today, we think.
Game 2 against St. Mary's. Lost yesterday, trying to get Game 2. 5 Eastern on the BYUtv and BYU radio apps.
Don't go anywhere. Our Pro Day coverage continues with NFL linebacker, defensive end, Harvey Longy up next on BYUSN.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
accidents don't just happen 9 to 5. They happen when you least expect them. The team at Siegfried & Jensen is here for you 24/7. Nights, weekends, every day, every hour. Really here for you. No matter when you call us, you'll speak to a real person and have access to the same expertise and personal attention as always, and get the legal help you need when you need it. Nights, weekends, every day, every hour, 24/7.
Learn more at siegfriedandjensen.com.
Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork sells Ford vehicles including the F-150, the pickup designed for work and play. Tim Daly Ford maintains a large inventory, providing more choices for selecting an F-150 with the power and engineering to carry and tow heavy loads. The F-150's design offers comfort, safety, and a range of options to choose from. Think Ford, think Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork.
Today was a great day.
You're going to feel the energy of all these volunteers.
I'm excited to get out into the world and see who else is making good.
And you're going to meet some of the most amazing people.
And we will all just lift each other up.
What we do is we create memories for families.
And you realize just how good people are.
It does take a village.
It's definitely been a journey.
Welcome back to this Pro Day edition of BYU Sports Nation. Make sure you follow the show on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok to catch Jaron Hall highlights, among other things.
Jaron Hall prepping for the 40-yard dash.
Okay,
we will turn our full attention to that in just a few minutes.
We'll see him run.
He did not do this, notably, in Indianapolis at the main NFL Combine alongside Jarom Jordan. I'm Spencer Linton. Great to have you with us for a 2-hour special. And while we wait for those 40-yard dashes to begin, we welcome in current NFL defensive star Harvey Longy, who is with the Las Vegas Raiders. And that's the plan moving forward for now, right, Harv?
Hey, that's the plan. Well, yeah, that's the plan. We'll see what happens, but yeah, that's the plan. So thank you for having me.
What are you feeling right now as you watch this unfold? It wasn't too long ago that you were here participating in front of these NFL scouts.
Yeah, going on year 7, I'm just amped up. I have the goosebumps, just like walking on here, seeing all the drills set up, seeing all the scouts here. I 100% remember when I was doing the same thing. So, best of luck, and I'm rooting for our guys, but helped out a lot in some of their pro day training of the guys that were just here. And the biggest thing I told them is just, hey, when you prepare enough, you're going to come out here and just be excited and just go, like we said before, go find that one set of eyes. They're going to be all 32 or however many are here, but if you can find one set of eyes, guys, you'll be fine. So that's some of the advice. And plus, now they have more options.
Yes.
Like when I came here, we left, what did you have other than the NFL? You had the CFL and you had the Arena Football. Now you have not only 32 teams, 16-plus teams with the USFL and the XFL.
Yeah.
So I'm like, don't be discouraged. If none of the 32 big dogs come calling, then maybe one of the 16 out of those 2 different football organizations will call. And how great would that be to go over there and compete and go against formal NFL players and vets or guys that have just left college also, and get you some film and prepare you to go to the NFL. So a lot of cool options for these guys. I'm excited for them.
To some degree, even when you get in the NFL, you're still trying out to stay on rosters, to find the right fit, to whatnot. So what's life been like the last 7 years as you've navigated the NFL and done it successfully?
What Bill Belichick always says, just stack them days and take it day by day, be where your feet are. And you can't really, in the very beginning part, I was always worrying about the little things and worrying about, like, oh my gosh, am I going to, everything I do is being evaluated, and there's always somebody just, I always have to, like, look over my shoulder. And as I just progressed and moved forward and just prepared and kept preparing, found my routine, knew what I can do on the field, I just said, hey, I know what I can do, and I'm going to come in here, I'm going to do it, I'm going to compete, and we'll go from there. So,
as a linebacker, and I teased you as a defensive end linebacker. You played running back a little bit at BYU. You did it all.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We should have had you at quarterback.
You're like
too. 4
positions at BYU. You've singled in on linebacker in the NFL, unless that's changing. Is that changing?
Negative.
Okay. We just talked to David Nixon, another former linebacker. But as a linebacker, what drills have your attention the most here?
So I got that question asked also. I think as a linebacker, as any position, as you stay consistent with the numbers that have been in your position with all the drills, if you can hit that above average and just stay consistent, or if you get a couple that are just out of the roof and all that just helps. But I truly think of course the 40, of course the vertical, and the drills where they can see you bend and move. Of course the game has changed. It's not ground and pound, 2 tight ends, a fullback, type Kalani played back when he was, when they still had leather helmets and stuff. Shout out to Kalani. Yeah, the game has changed, and speed and space is everything right now. And I think a lot of the scouts, or if I was a scout, you'd want to see someone who's consistent and then that can move and bend and move in space and have speed, because that's what the game is turning into.
Put on your scout hat as a player. BYU certainly has 3 players that are big-time NFL prospects, and Blake Freeland as a tackle, Jaron Hall as a quarterback, Puka Nacua as a receiver. What do you see in those guys that could be NFL potential?
I am so excited for all of them, and I'm excited for all 3 of those specific guys that you just said. And the things that they've shown already in college and what they've shown in the testing already just shows that they're doing the right thing off the field. They're training the right way. They're recovering the right way. And I think if they understand that those are the things that are going to keep you staying on a roster, get your chance to be on a roster, they just need to keep moving forward and keep trying to take it to not a whole crazy level, but you just keep improving, keep seeing I went to bed at 10 o'clock all last week and I felt a little drowsy. Let's try a little 9:45, or, you start tweaking it to where you're just prime. And being out 2 seasons for, injuries, the car accident, and those type of things, I've had to adjust my routine and just man, what can I do to stick around? Because right now, I broke my back. I tore up my knees and stuff. I got to get ready to go. There's a new kid from whatever college out here to come and get my spot. So specifically for those boys, if they can understand the things that they are doing is already great with their preparation. If you can keep tweaking it to adjust to whatever system or whatever team or wherever you go, they're going to be just fine.
And who knows? One of these guys might be your teammate.
Players are receiving final instructions as they get ready for the 40-yard dash. Take us inside the mindset right now of those guys, Harvey. What are you thinking about before the 40 on BYU Pro Day?
Everyone knows that the 40 is the big bang. It's the it's the hurrah. When you go to a fireworks show, everyone's waiting for that last 15 minutes of the huge finale. This is the big finale that everyone is waiting for, and they all know it, and they've all trained for it. So right now they're just going through what they do to get ready, to get their muscles activated, and then to just do exactly. It's like a golf swing. These guys were doing a golf swing for this thing, and trying to get that perfect swing from their stance, from their get-offs, from when they hit 20 yards, from their strides to the end. And all of them are trying to just hone down into, all right, I've done this 100,000s of times since, our last football game. I need to get that perfect one that I've been training for.
Yeah.
So
you're referencing essentially muscle memory at this point.
Muscle memory, 100%.
Chris Brooks.
Speaking of muscles.
I mean, Harvey, look at Chris Brooks. We joked that he's the superhero that showed up today. He's a guy that can certainly benefit from a really, really good 40 here.
Love the way he ran the ball, or runs the ball. I got to train him a little bit last year, and this guy's just a workhorse. I'm excited.
All right. So not sure if that was the official go-ahead or not, or if that's just a false start of sorts, or if that's just...
Certainly a false start. Not sure if it counts against his 2, but we'll see. What Chris needs to do right here probably to get a chance is be in the 4.5s somewhere.
Yeah, is that...
Would low 4.6 be okay? Or does he need to be in the 4.5?
Tyler Algier was a 4.6 last year.
And that's the crazy thing is like this, I think if he does hit a 4.5 or he gets the best number, of course that's going to help him and project him higher. But whatever he does when he gets his opportunity and he goes out there and shows what he can do on the field will forever trump what he does here.
Brooks with his first 40 run. We'll get those times to you as soon as they are made available to us.
You almost feel bad for everybody after him just because they're not going to look like Chris Brooks. You know what I mean? Like, can Chris go last?
Yeah. I'm not taking my shirt off after that. You're like, hey, I'm keeping my shirt on.
That guy says, well, I think he has wanted, it seems like he has wanted to be the first. Like, I want to go first on bench. I want to go first on 40. Like, he's that guy. And he's going to get a chance. Good point by you that Tyler did run a 4.6 last year. I just think Chris probably needs to get on radars a little more today than Tyler needed to.
Yeah,
like Tyler's film.
Tyler was
amazing.
On the radar, right?
Yeah.
Harvey.
4.58. There you go.
A 4.58 for Chris Brooks.
Fantastic.
The 40s will continue. Harvey, before you go, just want to ask you, as far as like your professional ventures, and you're with the Raiders right now, what's your mindset mentality like right now? Because the NFL is a cutthroat business, and very much it is contract to contract, year to year. How are you approaching all that?
Going back to what I said earlier, just take it day by day. I'm preparing every single day. I'm giving the time and love that my family deserves during this time. And, you know, clocking in at daddy daycare way more than I have been in the past. But it's more of a mindset right now. So the mind is everything for me right now, and allowing my mind to know that I can still go out there and run and jump and tackle and do everything that, you know, 24 or 23-year-old Harvey can. And it'll come with just day-by-day training and just preparing for that.
So Lorenzo Falatea running his 40. Harvey, congratulations on everything you've accomplished. It's so great to have you back in the indoor practice facility here for this.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Good to see you, Harvey.
Man.
Let's go.
Yes, we feel your energy and your dude. That smile's worth $1 million bucks, dude. Let's go.
Hey, our producer Ben Bagley really wants you back on the Raiders for a couple more years, just so you know.
That's his guy. And Tom Satake, for that matter.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so does all my family, so they can just drive instead of fly everywhere.
Exactly.
You know, so.
That's a convenient one.
Thanks, Harvey.
Thank you.
Matthew Critter ran a 4.64, by the way.
Okay.
And then Zoe just ran a 5.61.
5.61. Well, I'm faster than somebody.
I would hope you're faster than Zoe. Hey, tonight, as we see, let's stick with this. This is Jaron Hall's 40. Jaron Hall just ran the 40.
All right, we're going to come back and give you those times.
We'll get it in just a sec.
Jaron Hall will have another one.
Pepperdine, BYU, coming up tonight, 9 Eastern time. Cougars are undefeated at home this year. Need to win these two matches to tie for third this weekend.
The 40-yard dash continues with BYU quarterback Jaron Hall.
You want the number? We'll tell you after the break.
Don't go anywhere.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
Customer experience comes first. It's our focus. It's your expectation. We provide support to those that go the extra mile for all of us. Supplying products, training, and service for generations. Learn more at bradyindustries.com.
Paul Brandt is laying his guitar aside and picking up a hammer.
There actually are things that can be done to help people in situations like this.
This is our house for real.
I don't think you can ever dream too much.
As the receivers become the givers, they in turn help themselves. Watch Paul Brandt's Build It Forward on BYUtv or with the free app.
I was adopted as a baby.
Love, that's the missing piece.
4 teams are racing to find their family.
I would really love to meet my parents. It's high time that we see each other again.
I'm your dad, Tommy.
I'm your sister, love.
Really?
I just want her to know I forgive you.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to an all-new season of Relative Race.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation, live from BYU Football Pro Day 2023 at the indoor practice facility in Provo, Utah. I'm Spencer Linton, along with Jarom Jordan. We are watching the 40-yard dash, and we're going to bring in one of our colleagues, Dave McCann, to help us break down these numbers. We just saw Jaron Hall run right before we took you to break. And Jarom, the number is on that first rep.
4.62.
4.62. We'll take another look at that. 4.6
is a good number for Jaron.
He did not run in Indianapolis.
Yep.
We were wondering if he would do that today.
No measurables in Indianapolis, yeah.
A 4.62. Here's another look at that Jaron Hall run in the 40-yard dash.
Jaron's good enough to get 4.59 here, maybe on this second attempt, which is fast. But the man of the day is Caleb Hayes.
Caleb Hayes. We're going to show you his first 40 in just a moment.
I'm declaring him right now Jonah Treneman Pro Day MVP.
Blistering.
Caleb Hayes is already that. He will be that when this finishes, because he just ran a 4.31.
And here it is.
Wow.
Caleb Hayes, 4.31 in the 40-yard dash was just burning.
He is at least mini camp invite. He perhaps could be undrafted free agent now at this point. Caleb Hayes rocketing himself into position to be an NFL guy today. This is live now.
This is live Puka Nacua. Dave, Caleb Hayes having a day thus far as we look at Mr. Nacua.
You know, whenever there's a buzz here in the room, because everyone's doing things, all of a sudden, ooh, hi, then you look up and you go, something just happened.
Something just happened.
And everyone is keeping an eye on Puka, too. We know of his ability to get down the field, get open, make spectacular catches, but here's the straight 40.
Okay, Puka's going to reset.
I think, like Chris Brooks, for Puka as a receiver, would be nice to be in the 4.5s as well. Austin Collie was a 4.6 guy. 4.6 is fine as well. But I think for Puka to go from potential like 5th or 6th round guy to slide up to like maybe a 4th round guy, it'd be nice to be in the 4.5s.
Some other notables. Chris Jackson ran a 4.43 as you look at Puka.
Puka's put on some muscle since the Stanford game, hasn't he?
I've heard him.
Yes, he has.
Like, I've heard a few NFL scouts talk about Puka Nacua the way they talked about Tyler Algier, which is there's just flatline speed in the 40, and then there's game speed. And they all reference, like, another gear. Like, Algier, even though he's a 4.6 in the 40-yard dash, he's got game speed. He's a little faster. And they feel the same way about Puka Nacua.
Yeah, what was his 10 to 20 split? And then for receivers, what's your 20 to 40 split?
Here's Gunnar Romney.
Good to see Gunnar healthy. And, boy, we'd hope to see him all season long.
I know.
He is rocking a mustache, that's for sure. I don't know if that affects the aerodynamics of the run.
Probably slows you down a bit.
I think it makes him feel cooler. So, hey, and in talking to Harvey, and I know he was up here, he said that the biggest thing is the 40. Because there's nothing hidden in the 40. You're either fast or you're not. And he said back in the day when he came through, it was he wanted to be big and tough and show all this stuff. He goes, the game's changed. It's all about speed. And so that's why it's like at a golf tournament. Everyone's over here quiet, waiting for each one of these guys to run. All those 32 scouts have their own clocks. This is the revealer of all. I thought that was an interesting perspective.
This is Earl Tuioti Mariner. We do have some numbers coming in from Puka Nacua and Gunnar Romney specifically as Mariner finishes up his run.
A 4.59. So again,
4.59.
he's in that range where he needs to be. Certainly, you'd want to be as fast as you can. D'Angelo Mandel, 4.51. That's a good number. You mentioned Chris Jackson, 4.43. Speed from Chris. Yeah. Never in question with Chris. Gunnar Romney, 4.7. Earl Tuioti Mariner, a 5.19. Certainly different for a defensive lineman like my name is Earl Tuioti Mariner.
Okay, so we're looking for something a little bit better from Gunnar in his second attempt rather than the 4.7.
Yes.
Nakua, like we're hoping that Gunnar can push his number down towards what Puka just ran.
4.6s would probably be a good number at this point.
This is Joe Tukuafu, offensive lineman for BYU, saw time at center among other positions.
I'm interested too in this next guy, Peyton Wilgar. He looks thin and trim, but we didn't see much of him with that injury, the backside of the season. And here he is. His deep blue story is phenomenal, and guy just wants to make it to the NFL and make some money playing football. It's a big run for him.
If he could go kind of 4.7, I think that'd be a good number here.
All right, Peyton Wilgar with his first 40-yard dash. Looked pretty good out of the gate. All right, we'll have that number for you from Peyton Wilgar when we come back. We're going to take another break, or 2-hour coverage from BYU Football Pro Day on BYU Sports Nation. Typically, this is where we talk about how softball has a doubleheader tomorrow. That's apparently been canceled.
It's canceled. So second round of 40s coming up after the break.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Utah is a special place. Our communities, the people, the history. There is no place quite like Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're honored to say that we are from Utah. We live here, work here, and when someone is injured, we're proud to say we've helped a neighbor when they've needed it most. We know Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're here for you.
Learn more at siegfriedandjensen.com.
My mom is from Slovakia. We haven't really talked about it, never, not once.
My dad doesn't really talk about his life in Serbia. I just really want to know who he is.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation on BYU Football Pro Day from the indoor practice facility in Provo, Utah. I'm Spencer Linton, teamed up with Jarom Jordan, Dave McCann with us right now, as well as you are looking at Jaron Hall preparing for his second 40-yard dash. These are live images. His first time came in at a 4.62, trying to best of 4.62. Jaron Hall with his second 40-yard dash attempt now. And we all know that Jaron can run. We've seen him do so on hundreds of occasions in games.
Hoping for 4.59 here.
Did he run faster when he had the football, or did he run faster when he was chasing down the Arizona State guy who had stolen his pass?
Is that the fastest run? I think his fastest run, I know you're kidding, but Baylor, 4th and 1, when he ran for like a 50-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
I think that was his fastest moment.
That game speed. When he came around the corner against Utah and went the distance, and it got called back because of a hold downfield.
That was a good one
too. Pretty quick. Yep. But he also was chasing down that interception against Arizona State.
Yeah, we know Tyler Algier was cruising.
Oh, yeah.
That's the fastest moment we think we've ever seen from Tyler Algier, is when he went down and punched that ball out. All right, here's Caleb Hayes. 4.31, his first attempt. He's got one more.
He must think he can do faster.
Can he go faster?
He is moving.
Can he get a 4.3 flat here?
Caleb Hayes having a day. 17 reps on the bench press, 40-inch vertical jump, a broad jump of 10 feet 8 inches, and already recorded a 4.31 in the 40-yard dash.
Still waiting to hear on Jaron's.
Waiting on that number from Caleb Hayes. Here's Houston Hamuli.
Okay, they neither ran faster.
Okay, yeah, they will not post it if it does not improve. Okay, so Houston Heimuli, 5.06 in his first 40.
Isn't it interesting that it's so minute that we thought Caleb Hayes ran faster while watching him in his second run, and he didn't. He's just like, how fast is fast? And he didn't improve on that amazing time.
What's wild about it is it could be like a 4.32 or a 4.33. It's like, nope, we're good with the 4.31.
Maybe that's why Chris Burke said, I'm good with my time.
Houston went 4.98. That's a really good number for a fullback. 4.96 officially now. That's quick for a guy his size. Let's see. He came in this morning at 261.
261. He's really slimmed down. And the 31 reps on the bench press, Jarom.
Houston, if a team is looking for a rookie fullback, Houston Heimuli could be your guy. Now, he didn't have a ton of film this year. BYU did not use him very often. In fact, he had 37 snaps on offense. Not a ton. But he can use the Stanford film as well.
He can use the New Mexico Bowl film at least. They finally used him in that bowl game scenario.
Those are good numbers because obviously the film matters the most, and you want to support it with pro day stuff, the measurables. But if you can get the pro day stuff, now they might go look at that film a little more closely. They will do that with Caleb Hayes. They will do that with Houston Heimuli. We hope they do that with Peyton Wilgar and Harris LaChance, who's running right now as well. Is the hat going to slow you down in the 40?
All I know is he was putting it all on the line right there. He was not holding anything back.
That's what you want, all out.
It makes you wonder what Dewey Gray is going to run in the 40 at the alumni game a week from today over at the stadium.
Just don't pull anything, okay? Sheesh.
See these guys just blazing.
It's D'Angelo Mandel, 4.51 in his first go-around. Again, if it improves, they will post the improved number. If it does not improve, then it will stay as a 4.51.
Yeah, they just Control-Alt-Delete that second one.
Here comes Puka.
This is a big one. 4.59 in the first, which to me is good enough to get in the 4.5s. If you can get kind of mid 4.5, that would be even better. So certain guys are using the combine cleats that have been given. Others are using the personalized, more broken-in cleats. Just a personal choice here.
Swear Sampson made a lot of noise last year.
Got to look with the Colts. Played in the preseason at least.
Puka Nacua, his second attempt. And he will line it up one more time. So a false start for Puka Nacua. And
so now he has to back up 5 yards.
You're granted a restart.
That would be weird, right? Oh, well, you made that choice. You have to. It's actually a 45.
Did we ever hear what his injury was at the Senior Bowl? Was it an ankle? He was just practicing, doing well, and then, but with Jaron, we heard that he had tweaked his ankle, and that's why he had gone away. But I never did hear what kept Puka out.
Don't know exactly. No.
And he looks fine today, and running, and lifting, and jumping.
He's participating in all the measurables, which he did not in Indianapolis. So every rep is an important one. You would think that the scouts are here to see the big three. Blake Freeland do the bench. We don't think he's doing anything else. Maybe some drills. Puka, Jaron, and then there's other guys like Caleb Hayes that we mentioned are making waves. Houston Heimuli, Harris LaChance, Peyton Wilgar, Gunnar Romney.
This guy's been thinking about this day since being an Orem Tiger.
Looked like a pretty good start from Nacua and driving through those last few
What do you
yards.
have, Dave, on that one?
I'm going to guess it
4.58.
I'm going to guess it was a 4.57.
4.57.
It felt like that.
Dave's got his personal timer.
When I run it, you can just feel
4.55.
4.55.
How about that?
Hey,
that's a good number. That's a good number for Puka.
Yeah,
good for him.
Just to improve that. Now, what you're hoping for is low 4.6 here after a 4.7 first from Gunnar.
Really driving, you can see after about 20 yards, and Gunnar Romney is through his second 40-yard dash.
What did you have on that one, Dave?
That one was a little slower.
That was a 4.75.
That was a little slower than Puka.
Yeah.
I was just thinking.
Than Puka. Yeah.
I was just thinking as we see these guys running today, how much we anticipated seeing them on the field together last fall, and how little we saw that.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
Just such a bummer.
There's Kalani. 4.65 for Gunnar, so improved it.
We got a time for Peyton Wilgar, by the way, that we've teased. He ran a 4.69.
That's good. He's faster than Gunnar Romney, which is wild.
That is wild, considering the linebacker spot that Peyton's going for.
He was faster than Gunnar in the first attempt. Now Gunnar's a 4.65, so 400s faster than Peyton Wilgar. But Peyton Wilgar is a linebacker, 4.69.
Right, he's coming back, right? He's going to run it again?
Yeah, he's going to run it again, we think. Of note, Chris Brooks didn't run a second time. He liked his first time enough. 4.58.
Wow. Yeah. We're going to be joined by Kalani Sitake in just a moment. But, Dave, before you go, you talked about the atmosphere, the environment, having your ears perk up. We had a chance to look back at Caleb Hayes' numbers. Is there anybody else besides Caleb that you feel like is really making a name for themselves here today, based on your conversations and what you're observing here?
It's so hard because we watched Samson steal the show last year, and he still didn't get in the show as far as in with an NFL team. And in talking with David Nixon, it's so hard to break in. There's so many of these combine-type things going on around the country. What I love is the fact that BYU's committed to helping you get a job. You come through the broadcast department that puts you to work at BYUtv and train you to go get a job. And this is a strong showing for the current Cougars and everyone who wants to come play here, that when you're done, that you'll get a catapult-type opportunity just for you and NFL scouts. And I think that might speak more to the long term of the football program and really how they've cranked this thing up the last couple of years. It might reflect the number of Cougars in the NFL, and that seems to be growing. So I think it's a spectacular day for what Kalani Sitake's trying to do with the culture of come here, play here, study here, and we will help you get a job. And I think the first words out of his mouth, or at least right after I'm really happy to be here, was, I just want to help these kids get a job and get a job in football. And this is a celebration of 15 careers that have come through here. And a lot of the scouts are watching those guys you've mentioned. Everyone else is like, hey, you know what? They were committed to me to the very end. And this is a day that says, thanks for coming.
Dave McCann with us on BYU Sports Nation at BYU Football Pro Day. We're through a little more than an hour, but we've got another 54 minutes to go, including the finalized numbers from the 40-yard dash, not to mention some drill work, among other things. And, of course, the head football coach, Kalani Sitake, will join us shortly. Don't go anywhere for more BYU Sports Nation from the indoor practice facility.
If you're looking to build your brand awareness and increase market share as BYU moves into the Big 12, this is the place, BYU Athletics. We can provide the tools you need to make sure your company is seen and heard. BYU Athletics is where you can align your products and services with loyal fans that cheer for our Cougars. And they can also help your business win. Learn more about what a partnership with BYU Athletics and your company will look like. After all, this is the place. Email sponsorship at byu.edu today.
BYU Food to Go's convenient location at 2191 North Canyon Road in Provo makes bringing popular BYU foods to your next event easy. Everything's ready when you need it at the drive and load pickup. You drive in and they load no matter the weather. And stop in the on-site creamery for great BYU chocolate milk and ice cream. BYU Food to Go, bringing campus to your table. Call for details, 801-422-5001.
I was 4 years old when I left Zambia. My dad was born in Sheila, in the south of Italy.
My mom is from Slovakia. We haven't really talked about it, never, not once.
My dad doesn't really talk about his life in Serbia. I just really want to know who he is. And then discover who am I.
I was adopted as a baby.
Love, that's the missing piece.
4 teams are racing to find their family.
I would really love to meet my parents. It's high time that we see each other again.
I'm your dad, Tommy.
I'm your sister, love.
Really?
I just want her to know I forgive you.
It's nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Welcome to an all-new season of Relative Race.
BYU Sports Nation continues from BYU Football Pro Day. It is Friday, March 24th. There is the new record holder for the Atlanta Falcons as far as rookie rushing yards go. 1,035 for Tyler Algier, who was center stage in a lot of ways for BYU football just a year ago, making his way around, seen a lot of former teammates. Head coach Kalani Sitake is going to join us in just a few minutes to recap what we have seen thus far. Do want to go back to the 40-yard dash specifically. If you're just joining us, Caleb Hayes has stolen the show, not just in that event, Jarom, but for the entirety of the pro day. He has been the guy that has absolutely jumped off the page.
Yeah, literally jumped 40 inches in his vertical and then a 4.31 in the 40. So he has emerged as a guy who wasn't part of the big three. We thought someone would occupy that space of like, okay, looks the part. Chris Brooks has had a really nice day as well. I think he's been the number 2 guy outside of the big three in terms of noticeability and scouts coming to see Caleb, coming to see Chris Brooks, coming to see some of the other guys. But the measurables matter. Obviously, they can't just be completely ignored. But those 2 guys in particular have really impressed.
All right, some numbers as we close out the 40-yard dash. You mentioned Chris Brooks, his 4.58. Caleb Hayes with a 4.31. Chris Jackson, a 4.43. Puka Nacua improved his second time around, a 4.55. And then Peyton Wilgar's a linebacker, 4.69.
That's an impressive number as well for him.
Really nice. All right, the head football coach, Kalani Sitake, is with us on BYU Sports Nation.
What's up,
Coach?
Kalani?
What was your 40?
Like, so spectacular, you can't even talk about the time.
No, but seriously, with Houston, he put up a sub-5, which I think is good for a fullback at his size.
Yeah, it is. The times, they matter to some degree, but most of it is on what they do on film. So I think the scouts come in, and we've had great conversations with all the NFL personnel, and they've talked to all our coaches. Everybody that's involved with them, and even academics, they want to know what type of work ethic these young men have, and it's been really nice to talk about them and in so many different areas. Obviously, the attention comes down to the 40 and the testing, but I think for a lot of the scouts, it's like, okay, these guys can do it, or these guys aren't. Are there any surprises? Basically, is what they're looking for.
Or we're going to see some position work, some shuttle drills, different things. You just saw Chris Brooks. Here's Houston Haymouli. But, Coach, from a broad perspective, what does it mean to you in the program to have all 32 teams from the NFL represented here today?
Yeah, it's huge. I think, if you want to get more guys drafted, then you have to do things as a program to accommodate the NFL personnel. And so we try to bring them in and allow them access to practice, access to our film. I think so many places are secretive. They don't want to open and have the accessibility to the NFL personnel, but those guys are professionals, but if you want them to recruit your guys or draft your guys or sign your guys, then they have to see them in everything, how they interact with their players, how they lead as a teammate and as a captain, and so that's hard to do when you don't get to see them in everyday practice.
What's the role of Pro Day for the program as we see in the 3-cone drill? Blake Freeland competing. Had a great 3-cone in Indianapolis, 4th among all offensive linemen, 7.46, so we'll see if he improves that. But what's the role of BYU football and Pro Day in obviously winning games with priority, developing these young men, but also, hey, these guys can get a job at the next level as well, and the last couple of years has been really successful in that regard.
Yeah, I think that's our job. That's my job as a coach, is to get them and allow them to achieve their dreams. And sometimes it's not in the football field, sometimes not the next level. So we're highlighting guys that are trying to get to the next level on the football field, but there's a bunch of guys that have moved on from football and are doing great, and that's because of the connection that BYU has, the network that BYU has, and that's something that we can, when you're recruiting, you say, hey, this is what we've got going for us. We have this unbelievable fan base, but a network that, that you can be a part of a family rather than just be a number on the field, and so it's just an honor for me to be in this position and just kind of highlight what's great about BYU, which is the people and the fans and the network, and then see it that it can our players become part of that, but then they also contribute to it and make the community better. And then it kind of goes full circle for all these guys, and they'll find themselves years from now like we are, getting older and being like, man. And then the next generation goes through what we did, and it's that's basically the plan of salvation right there.
It's nice to see some former guys come back. Tyler Algier, Harvey Longy we had on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Chris
Zach
Wilcox
Wilson's been in town.
Zach Wilson. The atmosphere around BYU football feels notably good right now. But and that's me from an outsider perspective. How would you explain the atmosphere around BYU football, not just here today at Pro Day, but around spring ball and around the program in general?
Well, we want this to be a family. We want it to be home, and so if it's going to be home, then you have to have an open arms type of policy, where everyone's always welcome back. We want them back here. We want our alumni back, and it doesn't have to be. I mean, everyone notices the Steve Youngs, the Tyler Algiers, the players that are playing on Sunday, but there's a bunch of guys that come back. They're doing amazing things in the community, in the business world, in their profession, and they're doing great things for the church and their callings and being great fathers and husbands. And I need all those guys around as much as possible because they can help mentor our players, our young men. Our young men can see that others have done it and been through this and have faced similar adversity when it comes to being a football player at BYU. And so when my dad has Christmas, it's not like he's issuing invites to all the children. We all know that's going to be part of the deal. We'll show up and we'll be involved. We just need to know what time, right? And so that's the same situation that we're trying to have here. I have a wonderful staff, coaches, support staff, and we have awesome administration, faculty, and staff here in the university. Obviously, BYUtv personnel are awesome too. So the more we can get them here, the better it'll be for all of us. And we all collaborate. It's a collaborative effort for all of us to make this place the best it possibly can be.
Jaron Hall about to run the 3-cone here. Caleb Hayes just ran a 4.17 20-yard shuttle, which would have been 8th overall at the combine, 2nd among corners. He's having quite the day, Kalani. Caleb Hayes is crushing it.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think I bragged about it to you guys before. I think we have some guys that are doing exactly what we thought they would do, and like I said, we test our guys, so this isn't the first time they're going through this. Overall, I'm just happy that they're here. They look great. They're going to go through their workouts. They're going to be connected. They're going to do interviews. They did the Wonderlic test. They're going to be able to talk and just kind of interact with all the scouts that are here and the general managers. I feel really good about our guys in this job interview that they're going through right now.
Coach, we appreciate the time that you spend with us to recap a really cool day. And a credit to you and your staff and all the administration for putting together a top-class event.
And in a week, we're going to hang out at the scrimmage on BYUtv, which is exciting. And
we just need to stop snowing. Like, it's winter ball right now. We need it to be spring ball.
We need good weather in a week.
It's going to be a balmy 44 degrees, I saw.
I'll take it.
We take that right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's we're going to have to turn this into a summer event where we all go to Deer Creek and Lake Powell because the water level will be great for all of us.
Just move the bleachers indoors here, and we'll do the alumni game in the spring scrimmage here.
I don't know. Football is meant to be outside unless you're unless the weather. I guess if the weather looks like this, then yeah. But no, we're excited to get going in spring ball. I've been really happy with the practices and with our staff and our players, and we'll just keep building it and get this thing ready by the time we hit the fall.
I just want you to run one route during the alumni game. One route.
I did it last year, remember? I took a knee. Smart. I got to save my hamstrings.
That was smart.
Yeah.
That was smart.
I want you guys to run a 40 over here. Let's get that going.
No, thank you.
Oh, boy.
Already done that.
Spence did, yeah.
I did that. 516, unofficial.
Unofficial, of course.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey, join us in a week. We got a 2-hour Alumni Day special coming up next Friday, 12 to 2 Eastern, 5 Eastern. The spring scrimmage, as Kalani mentioned, at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Then the alumni game right after that. Can Brian Keel catch another Hail Mary to win? And in a men's volleyball match that night. It's loaded next Friday.
I would highly encourage you not to go anywhere as Caleb Hayes continues his superlative morning and afternoon at Pro Day. Chris Brooks just put up an eye-popping number. We'll have that for you. Oh, and one of the best rookie running backs in the entire NFL, Tyler Algiers, is going to join us. We'll be back shortly with more from BYU Pro Day.
Dexter & Dexter is a full-service law firm offering a wide range of legal services. Since 1995, we have helped more than 20,000 Utahns both to navigate life's challenges and to make the most of life's opportunities. From personal injury to business law, and from adoption to bankruptcy, we are passionate about shouldering your burdens. To learn more about scheduling a no-obligation consultation, visit dexterlaw.com.
Introducing the Truck for Adventure. The all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier doesn't compromise on power or comfort. This midsize truck was redesigned to incorporate the latest technology and designs for safety, comfort, and convenience. Plus, with up to 6,700 pounds of towing capacity and best-in-class horsepower, it's rugged enough for adventure and still safe enough to transport all your favorite people. Where's your new Frontier? You'll find it at Tim Dowling Nissan Southtown and South Jordan.
That thing is ours. Whoa! No one else can know about it until we figure out what it is. Agreed? Agreed. We're supposed to look out for each other. All this time, I've been searching for us.
It chose you for a reason.
We're in this together.
You're the best friends I've ever had.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation, live from BYU Football Pro Day, the indoor practice facility. The shuttles and three-cone drills continue, and we're getting some eye-popping numbers, notably from Blake Freeland. Let's look at Mr. Freeland. We weren't sure what exactly he was going to do today outside of the bench and maybe some position work, but it's pretty good right here, Jarom.
What if I told you that he shaved 0.3 off of his number from Indy in the 20-yard shuttle? He went 4.71, which is fifth among tackles. He put up a 4.42 right there, which would have been best among all the offensive linemen in Indy. So he did some real work in that. And obviously his lateral quickness is his strength, which is awesome. Then Chris Brooks puts up a 4.18 in the 20-yard shuttle. That would have been number 1 at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. Chris Brooks continues to have a fantastic pro day, even despite a little hesitation in getting to the end line there. That's incredible. Then you go to Chris Jackson, 4.37 in the 20-yard shuttle. Chris Jackson, tremendously athletic. Didn't quite see that on the field as much in his BYU career. We saw it at times. Started to play DB last year. Saw him on special teams. Chris Jackson.
Wow.
With some nice numbers as well.
Well, let's keep the wow factor going and welcome in Atlanta Falcons running back and the guy who is a legend at BYU, Tyler Algier, is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Tyler, welcome back.
What's up, Tyler? Oh, no, it's great to be back. Great to be back with you guys.
What are you feeling right now as you watch your teammates go through what you went through last year?
It's a stressful time, but honestly, like once you get out there and you're just able to just let go, do everything that you trained to do for the past 3 months, and just let it all out, just showcase yourself. It's a great feeling.
David Nixon said he was getting the kind of anxiousness, nervousness for the players a little bit. Are you relaxed right now? Or are you feeling that for these guys?
Oh, I can feel the tension for sure. I can feel the tension, but it's slowly going away. Sure.
Congratulations, by the way, on an amazing rookie season. It was so fun to watch, with all the BYU fans seeing you do so well. What was it like to rush for 1,000 yards in your rookie year?
It was great. It was a great starting point. Good for a resume and stuff. But just got to keep it going.
What is next for you? What happens during the off season? What's next on the calendar as far as football activity is going? And how much time do you have off before you get back and going again?
Yeah, shoot. So they usually say take a break. So right when season ends, take a break, and then it's really on you. So I've been kind of just working out ever since 2 weeks maybe after Super Bowl, and then that's when everyone starts getting back into it, and then it's really just on you. If you want to take a break, go ahead, but just got to keep your body in shape, just get ready for OTAs coming up in camp.
How you feeling about year 2 and kind of the difference of having been through that rookie season and what you kind of know that you didn't know a year ago?
No, I'm excited. Shoot, I think just really build upon what I did last year, and then really just do my best just to ball out, just do my 111th, and hopefully get some good wins and stuff.
It felt like there was a switch that was flipped halfway through the season, and
you went from Tyler to Psycho T at some point.
Did something happen? Was there something that clicked in your mind where you're like, okay, yeah, now I'm starting to get it? If so, what was it, and when did that happen?
To be honest, it was like once I kept getting more reps, that's when he started slowly getting more comfortable, and then I think once I just like reminded myself, like, dude, like this is the dream, like you need to have fun. And then once I started having fun, just like, and then just really just knowing the playbook like the back of my hand, it was just like a switch. It was just like a switch. So like I don't have to think about, oh, I got this, when I can just, okay, this is it. Just go through my reads and progress, and then boom.
How long did it take you to get comfortable with the playbook, do you think?
Going through it, camp was cool, but like to really get comfortable, it all came with just reps. So I would say like maybe the third, fourth game.
Yeah.
Like slowly as I just kept progressing, getting reps and stuff. But it was good.
How did the BYU playbook compare to what you did in the NFL, and how did that prepare you for that next level?
Honestly, we had a lot of similarities, to be honest. But it was I thought it was pretty easy. You know, just studying. They helped me. Like me learning this playbook and doing signals was way different than learning just the playbook, and then so it was like really, I think it was easier than learning the BYU playbook, to be honest.
Because the signals are taken out. You're listening to the quarterbacks on the huddle, or
no, exactly.
Did you guys huddle, or were you?
No, we were huddle.
Okay,
yeah.
So you listen to that call and then execute.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Tyler Algier is with us on BYU Sports Nation from BYU Pro Day. You talked about the nerves that you feel for those guys and the tension that they're going through. Let's say for a guy like Caleb Hayes, who is just having a ridiculous day with great numbers, there's a process from now until the draft happens and then the contracts start to get signed. What advice would you give to a guy like Caleb, or even Chris Brooks, who's trying to follow in your footsteps as another BYU running back, over the next few weeks before the draft?
Honestly, just finish whatever meetings. Like some teams might have you go visit them, or they might come just do a workout, whatever. But I think honestly, just take it day by day. Like all the hard work has passed. Combine, pro day, all of it. After this day, everything's gonna pass. So all you need to do is just wait, just finish what you can do, control what you can control, and then freaking fate will end up just doing the rest.
How excited are you to play Taysom and Jamal with the Saints?
When I saw that,
a year.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be lit. Can't wait to trade jerseys with those guys, man. Those guys are beasts.
Yeah.
Do you feel a connection with Jamal's like fellow running backs from BYU in the NFL kind of situation? Because certainly both of BYU had never had a running back run for 1,000 yards, and you both did it last year.
You're from the same part of the state of California, for crying out loud.
That's true. Literally, I'm Southside, or I'm Central.
Fontana guy.
Yeah, Fontana guy, shoot, and he's North Side, so.
Sione Takitaki from Fontana. There's a Fontana connection, is there not?
Oh, yeah.
BYU,
for sure.
NFL?
Now, how would you explain, because I think a lot of people don't understand the rivalry between the Saints and the Falcons. What is that like, having played in it?
It's so bad. Like having played in it, like, honestly, I think the fans are more crazier than, like, the players. Like obviously, we go head and head. Like, there's a lot of smack talking, but, like, I heard the fans are crazy. It's bad. Like, honestly, like a BYU Utah type joint.
Okay.
I like it. What were some of your favorite moments, whether they be funny or hard or awesome, from your rookie season in the NFL?
Damn. Some funny moments.
Either that or just something you'll never forget. Maybe your first touchdown, something like that. What were those experiences like?
Oh, insane. Like, first touchdown. So my grandpa was born in Indiana. So it was Indiana, and then, his whole family's over there. So all my family, his family, ended up being there, and scoring the first touchdown there was just like,
that's
yeah,
cool.
he was looking over.
That's
looking
incredible.
Over us,
That is incredible.
Awesome. Yeah, looking over me and stuff. So just do everything for him, do everything for our family and all that. So it was good. And honestly, I felt, and then I didn't know what to do. So I just spiked it. When in doubt,
Did someone grab the ball for you to keep it?
No, I forgot it.
They got you a ball though, maybe, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
Did you get tackled by anybody where you were like, oh, that's so and so?
First game of me playing against the Rams, I have a picture. I think I posted it. It was me in the middle, and I got pancaked by like Bobby Wagner and Aaron Donald.
Ooh,
it was insane. Like that's when I was like, oh wow,
I'm here.
I'm here. Welcome in, Rook. Like, oh wow. No, yeah, it was insane.
Oh, Tyler, it's great to catch up with you, man. So great to see you doing well, and great to have you back in Provo.
I know, appreciate you. Great to be back, man. I miss you guys.
Let's go.
Good to see you.
Tyler Algier on BYU Sports Nation. We're going to keep the interviews rolling with former Cougars and current NFL players. Sione Takitaki just signed a new deal.
Just Fontana guys.
He just signed it.
Bring
it's
the Fontana guys
connection
in. Let's
here.
go.
We're bringing Sione coming up next. Don't go anywhere. More BYU Sports Nation for Pro Day continues right after this.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
If you're looking to build your brand awareness and increase market share as BYU moves into the Big 12, this is the place, BYU Athletics. We can provide the tools you need to make sure your company is seen and heard. BYU Athletics is where you can align your products and services with loyal fans that cheer for our Cougars. And they can also help your business win. Learn more about what a partnership with BYU Athletics and your company will look like. After all, this is the place. Email sponsorship at BYU.edu today.
They prefer to be bringing the heat, getting set for success, demonstrating their drive. But when their blood and sweat turns to tears or anything else, we lay the groundwork for BYU's athletes to hit the ground running again, and you as well. Intermountain Healthcare, official medical provider for BYU Athletics.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at trioorem.com.
My name is Sylvester Caldmer III, and I love baseball. I wasn't very good at it. What's the point of playing if I can't help the team win? But then something happened that changed everything. Who are you?
Just a friend who's played a little ball.
Babe Ruth is coaching me? I know you're a fraud and a cheater. The magic is gone, and I don't have it anymore. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but maybe it'd be better if you undid it.
Kid, that was you knocking the ball out of the park. The only thing I did was help you to believe in yourself.
Pro Day continues from the indoor practice facility in Provo. This is BYU Sports Nation, a 2-hour special on Friday, March 24th. Alongside Jarom Jordan, I'm Spencer Linton. You're watching Peyton Wilgar on the bench. His vertical jump, his broad jump, we mentioned his 40, which came in at a 4.69.
Is that a good day? These are about top 10-ish, top 15-ish at the NFL Combine had he been invited. So those are good numbers. I think Peyton's going to get a look from someone. Certainly the shoulder issues plagued him the end of 21 and into 22, unfortunately. But he's a guy that, like you said, a couple years ago, Cam Mellor put us onto this. He's like, hey, Peyton Wilgar's an NFL guy.
4.32 in his 20-yard shuttle, which of note is faster than D'Angelo Mandel and not too far behind the likes of Chris Brooks.
That's impressive.
Peyton was moving.
That lateral movement,
He was moving
right?
that 20-yard shuttle. And it's fitting we show you a linebacker as we welcome in a current NFL linebacker. The second NFL linebacker we've had on the show today. Harvey Longy and now Sione Takitaki. We're moving from one Fontana guy and Tyler Algier moments ago
Where's
to
Jamal
another.
Williams? Jamal out here too?
Yeah, we got to get him over here.
Sione, welcome, man.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me, man. It's a blast to always be back here in BYU and see the guys.
Congrats on the new contract, by the way.
Yeah,
staying with the Browns.
Staying with the Browns, man. It's always good to, to stay where it's familiar, and so I'm happy, man.
How do you feel like your role has evolved in your years with Cleveland?
Yeah, man, it's a journey, man. I definitely had to be resilient, you know what I mean? I went in there, special teams guy, then I had to earn some roles. I was just really young early on, and then, just having to compete, you know what I mean? They'll bring in guys every year. The GM that drafted me, he left, new GM come in. So there's a lot of moving pieces, but I feel like I stayed true to the game and put my head down and work and figured it out. But definitely scheme issues, but had to make it work.
I think you have the best hair of anyone in the building today.
Let's do it.
It's frothy in the back, man.
I got the curls going, you know what I mean? Couldn't grow it out when I was here at BYU, so it's funny. The BYU guys always, once they leave, they always grow out the hair.
Everybody, beard and
all that stuff. Yeah. So it's cool to.
We go on vacation. We're like, a couple days of facial hair, never hurt anybody, whatever. Don't tell the honor code office. Anyway, Do you have any feelings reemerge from your pro day here where you're a little nervous, anxious for the guys, or are you confident?
No, yeah. When I was just telling one of my buddies, I'm like, man, when I was here, I couldn't really look around and see how, cool it is to kind of take this all in. So, I'm a little nervous for the guys because I know how it is, but, man, I'm confident in those dudes to go out there and ball out and give it their all, man.
So kind of like a game where it's like, I'm pretty dialed in. I wasn't looking around. I wasn't taking it in as much.
Yep, correct, yeah. Like, man, I remember, like, going through that whole time. It's a lot of stress. You want to perform at your best, so you're kind of locked in. You're tuned in into everything you got to do, and then, you know what I mean? So not able to look around, what up, share with the guys, but so.
Did you feel after your pro day like, okay, I did really well, I'm in a good spot, or were you still kind of nervous after?
Still very nervous, you know what I mean? I feel like just that whole process can be, you know what I mean? But I was confident in what I've done, what I did at the Combine and Pro Day, that, I was in a good spot, but still, man, it's a very stressful, process to go through, and just happy that I'm past it.
Until you're drafted? Is that the moment when you kind of let out?
Yeah, until you're drafted. You enjoy the draft.
But then you're a rookie.
But then you're a rookie, and, you got a lot on your plate, and you got to go out there and prove yourself.
What's it like to compete against other former BYU guys in the NFL? We see all the pictures, the jersey swaps. What's it like on the field when you see those guys?
It's exciting. It's exciting, especially when I played like Tyler, my guy Tyler. I remember seeing him. Obviously, we watch tape, we game plan for certain guys, and I remember my coach coming in. He's like, "All right, this rookie right here is pretty good. He runs it downhill." And I remember watching tape on him, and then seeing him when we got on the field. I was like, "Oh, dang! Like this is Tyler Algier, the guy that I played with at the Y and trained with." And he balled out. I think he had 100 yards to get us. He was a beast. But tackling and them stuff, I was kind of like, "What up, bro?" He's like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "Get up, all right, shake hands and keep it moving." But it's definitely exciting, man, and to see the other guys succeed too.
Yeah, how wild is it that he was playing linebacker at BYU, and now you're tackling him, and he's got the Falcons' rookie rushing record.
That's why his name is Psycho T, you know what I mean? Because he was able to do, linebacker stuff, which, you know what I mean? You got to bring the pads, you got to hit, and to go to running back, make guys miss, run guys over. He's elite.
Should you have been a running back? Is that what we just learned?
You know what? I could had some juke moves here and there.
Tote the rock.
Harvey Long is like, I did play running back. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
He did.
More dudes in the NFL from BYU the last couple years. This has been good to see. What does it mean to have more guys like that? Because obviously you want to win games and you have to have talent. But that talent needs to be in the NFL. I'm of the opinion that BYU needs to be in the 3+ draft picks a year game. And this year we feel pretty good about Blake Freeland, Puka Nacua, and Jaron Hall.
No, yeah. I feel like as the years go on, there's been more guys, like you said. And that's just a testament to the guys, the coach staff, the organized, you know what I mean, the school. And where they're trending, for football. So I feel like as the years go on, there's going to be more guys going into the league. And then I feel like, the league is starting to, they've been knowing about BYU, but now, you know what I mean, they've really done their homework and just understands, what BYU brings. A lot of, mentally strong, dudes, because we got to deal with a lot, when you're here at BYU. So you're really, above, the standard of a lot of these colleges. So I feel like, BYU guys going to the league and doing some good things is going to continue to happen.
Position work continues. You just saw Blake Freeland doing a triple jump of sorts as they look at the offensive lineman.
That's a thing offensive linemen need now.
You got to show an explosiveness off the ball, right? Or so I'm told. How would you explain the atmosphere around BYU football from your perspective right now?
Man, I think it's at its best right now. You know what I mean? Especially going into the Big 12, and like I said, I feel like the program is trending in the right direction with all the above. You know what I'm saying? So for me, looking from the outside, man, I'm really happy with BYU. And even when I go into the weight room and all that stuff, the nutrition, all the stuff that they got for the guys, man, it's so elite. And I feel like, 6 years ago, you know what I mean, or however, whenever I was a freshman, freshman here at BYU, man, it wasn't the same. So I feel like, it's going to continue to get better.
What's it like to see these guys today try and earn that opportunity, and then see some guys like Caleb Hayes, 40-inch vertical, 4.31. I don't know how aware, the scouts were of him. They were, but crazy aware. What can you do today to really get a chance?
Yeah, you just got to go out there and put your best foot forward, you know, and really, like, you know, stand out in a lot of these drills. And at the end of the day, man, you put your best foot forward and try to get an invitation. You know what I mean? Try to get an invitation, drafted, you know, drafted something, and that's when the real work begins, man. I've seen guys, you know, who were undrafted, who got, you know, just a camp invite, you know, over my years and have stuck, you know what I mean, and balled out in the league. So, you know, I'm hoping these guys just get a chance, you know what I mean, because that's when you could really show, you know, the NFL, you know, the scouts who were kind of sleeping on you, what you could do when the pads come on and stuff.
And one of these guys could be your teammate, or
Exactly.
multiple. Who knows?
I've been pushing my BYU guys to the scouts and everybody, man. I'm biased, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude,
Check out
get
this
my
guy.
dudes, yeah. So for sure, I'm hoping.
Sione Takitaki is with us on BYU Sports Nation. Do they still play the Taki song after every play you make in Cleveland?
No, man. I got to get with the media team and get that going, man, because I felt like that was pretty legit. I remember my time here and them playing that. That was pretty exciting.
Do you have a Taki deal? The little snack?
Oh no, yeah, we did. You know, we had a little deal. It was 2 years ago, but it was just a little endorsement that I had to post online.
Yeah.
You know, and
How do you not have this deal?
That's what I'm saying.
Like you have a unique last name.
Check the last name out, guys. What are you guys doing, man?
What is going on?
Yeah.
Those things are hot, too. Jeez.
Those are fire, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Some
literally.
good
From the
stuff.
gas station? I don't dare.
Road trips, you know?
Yeah,
I gotta grab those, you know what I mean?
Sione, great to catch up with you, man. Thanks for taking some time with us and coming back to Pro Day.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having
Good
me,
to
man.
see you.
It's always a blast to see you guys.
Okay, we just need Jamal, last Fontana guy.
Yeah, where's he at?
Where's he at? Jamal, where are you at?
I'll go give him a call.
Go find him. He's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
trading Pokemon cards right now at the University Mall. My
Sione
bad. I
Takitaki
kid.
with us, Cleveland Browns linebacker.
Good to see you.
Going to make his way back to some of his former teammates and check out the remainder of Pro Day here. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some of the best things that we have seen and I guess put a final stamp of sorts on this Pro Day competition. Work continues for the offensive linemen. Harris LaChance, Joe Tukuafu. We talked about Blake Freeland. Don't go anywhere. More Pro Day coverage continues from the IPF right after this.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
Introducing the truck for adventure. The all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier doesn't compromise on power or comfort. This midsize truck was redesigned to incorporate the latest technology and designs for safety, comfort, and convenience. Plus, with up to 6,700 pounds of towing capacity and best-in-class horsepower, it's rugged enough for adventure and still safe enough to transport all your favorite people. Where's your new Frontier? You'll find it at Tim Dowling Nissan Southtown and South Jordan.
We have come for our horse. This horse?
No, you can't! Drag him! No!
You are courageous to have come this far.
I was adopted as a baby.
Love, that's the missing piece.
4 teams are racing to find their family.
I would really love to meet my parents. It's high time that we see each other again.
I'm your dad, Tommy.
I'm your sister, love.
Really?
I just want her to know I forgive you.
It's nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Welcome to an all-new season of Relative Race.
Join us tonight at 9 Eastern Time as 8th ranked BYU hosts 7th ranked Pepperdine on BYUtv live from the Smith Fieldhouse.
Hooray for indoor sports in weather like this in Provo. Hey, you want to make a move up the rankings? Simple. Just beat the Waves.
Win.
Is Willie the Wave going to come?
No. It will not be there.
That's unfortunate. Alongside
He's never
Jarom
been.
Jordan, I'm Spencer Linton. This is BYU Football Pro Day on BYU Sports Nation. We're going to recap some of the top performances today here at the IPF. We've limited it to 5 or 6. Obviously, the big 3 are going to be involved heavily here with Jaron Hall, Puka Nacua, and Blake Freeland. But Caleb Hayes, Chris Brooks, some shades of Houston Heimuli. I mean, there have been some really nice things here today, Jaron.
Let's start with Jaron Hall, who ran a 4.62 40 in this one. Did not participate in any measurables at the combine. That is the 6 rotations. 4.62 would have been 5th among quarterbacks in Indianapolis. Did do the 3-cone as well here. 6.97. That would have been 3rd among quarterbacks. Jaron's athleticism never in question, right? The number one metric for me, though, today, besides 40, hand size, 9.5, which is important. Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen, by the way, are 10 1/8.
Whoa!
They're among the biggest in the NFL. Taysom Hill, by the way, 8 3/4, has a smaller hand size. Why does that matter? Quarterback holds football, obviously. 9.5 is good because the average hand size of starting quarterbacks from last year's starters in the NFL, 9.53. So his hand fits in there. You don't want anything that's super egregious to be a red flag for you. He does not have the red flags. Jaron Hall does not. Maybe playing healthy through the whole season might be one that you come up with. He almost did it. Yeah. Got through almost 12 games right last year, which was good. But there's not a lot of negatives against one Jaron Hall.
Let's talk about Blake Freeland now, who comes in at 6 feet 7 inches and a little bit above that, almost 6'7.5". We weren't sure, again, how much he was going to do today. Did 25 reps on the bench press. That would have been tied for 16th at the combine among all offensive linemen. But he ran just a blistering 20-yard shuttle, 4.42. That would have overwhelmingly been the fastest of all the offensive linemen in that 20-yard shuttle at the NFL Combine.
He was 5th among tackles at 4.71 when he ran it in Indianapolis. So he improved by nearly 0.3.
Almost 3 full tenths.
Which is amazing. His NFL prospect grade at the moment is 6.14, which is a good backup with potential to develop into a starter. His arm is 33 6/8, which is a good number for a potential tackle. Obviously, the reach there to get against those defensive ends. Athleticism score number 1 among all combine tackles. He crushed it in Indy. He didn't have to prove a lot today. Did do the bench, which he did not do. But you look at the film and the grades from the film. 2nd highest graded tackle by PFF in all of college football behind Notre Dame's Joe Alt, who will be in the draft next year. 99.2 pass block efficiency, tied 2nd from PFF. Blake Freeland's one of the best tackles in the draft. It's just where he's going to be drafted. Could be as high as the 2nd round, maybe the 3rd round.
Projected 3rd round right now, and these are all average numbers. They take all the mock drafts from all over the country and they put them into a simulated formula, and then it comes out and gives you just an average number. But don't be surprised. Like, if Blake Freeland went late in the 2nd round, would anybody be surprised?
No,
after his combine numbers.
Uber athletic, certainly has some things he needs to shore up, but his athleticism is not in question. He is a pro day monster in Indianapolis, and then did a great job here.
His wingspan, by the way, 82 plus inches. 82 inches. That is massive. And by far the largest wingspan of anybody participating here today. Just to give you some perspective there, those 82 inches compared to fellow offensive lineman Harris LaChance, he's 79 3/8, and Joe Tukoff, who's 77 1/8. So Blake at 82 2/8, it's just a massive wingspan. Okay, let's keep things rolling with Puka Nacua now. We were certainly focused in on how many different events Puka would participate in today and what he would do specifically in the 40, in the shuttles, the 3-cone drills to show that agility and the health of his ankle that was in question.
Got 15 reps up on the bench. That would have been 10th at the combine. Vertical leap, not his best, 33 inches, would have been 38th at the combine. Broad jump, 36th. 4.55 40 was good enough. He needed to be in the 4.5s. I think 4.6 would have been a disappointment. 3-cone, 7.3, and then the 20-yard shuttle would have been 15th at 4.36. Puka, among Pro Football Focus, career grades among draft-eligible receivers, number 3 at 90.5. Only real question with Puka is, could he be a 4.4 kind of guy? Okay, he's a 4.5 guy, still good. Not elite speed, but very good speed. And then, his ability to stay on the field. When healthy, absolute playmaker. There are some questions with Puka from some NFL scouts about his ability to get off the line and whatnot, but I'm excited about Puka. He's as good of a wide receiver prospect as BYU has ever fielded, ever. And so I'm excited to see what happens with him.
His film and his competitive nature and his playmaking ability speaks for itself. Like, the film is going to be his loudest proponent, what he did in games. Like, these numbers matter.
Yes.
What he did on the field is going to be by far the loudest thing in Puka Nakua's
And it should be for every single player.
Draft
This
coverage,
should
yes.
supplement what you did in actual pads and actual games.
Okay, now for the Pro Day MVP, and that hands down.
Which is the Jonah Trineman Award.
Apparently it's the Jonah Trineman Award. I didn't realize that was
Congratulations to Jonah.
Okay. Caleb Hayes has been the Pro Day MVP
Amazing.
for BYU here today. I mean, his numbers have just been eye-popping, and it's one thing to have like an amazing 40 or, to do something well in one of the three-cone drill or the 20-yard shuttle. He's been great in all of them. Going back to the bench press, I mean, he had 17 reps on bench. These are smaller players, defensive backs. His 17 reps would have been tied for second among all defensive backs. 40-inch vertical, 6th overall at the combine of all players. That's unbelievable. And then how about the three-cone drill? 6.88 seconds. That would have been 3rd overall at the combine as well, Jarom. The 4.3140 speaks for itself.
The 4.31's the big kahuna
blistering.
There. Big kahuna there. Congratulations to Caleb, who showed that athletically he is as good as anyone at his position. And then in 2021, he had 12 PBUs. And I believe he had the second highest, best opponent passing percentage where they were not completing balls of 20-plus at him. There was like 1 completion or 2 in all of 2021 at him. So Caleb Hayes certainly has an opportunity in the NFL. Could he be Chris Wilcox? Chris Wilcox surprised us in the 2021 Pro Day, ran a low 4.3 number, and he was drafted in the 7th round and had some time with the Bucs. Could Caleb Hayes sneak into the draft now with a 4.31 and these great numbers?
Yeah.
And then they look at the film, they go, oh, you have ball skills. You can play. You have the measurables. I think that Caleb might be drafted after what he did today. We'll see. If not, it's undrafted free agent for sure.
And I should clarify that 4.31 would have been 3rd overall at the combine. I said that in relation to his three-cone drill. It would have been tied for second among defensive backs with the three-cone drill. But the 4.31, 3rd overall at the combine.
Amazing.
I mean, his 20-yard shuttle, 4.17. Everything he did was so blistering and sharp and fast and quick. He potentially earned himself a lot of money today.
He might sneak into the draft.
Wow, how about that?
Chris Wilcox here, by the way.
Yes, he is. Okay, let's go to Christopher Brooks, another guy who's had a really notable day.
Yep.
BYU running back, and we kind of felt like he would be one of the guys for sure that would show out because he's just such a physical specimen. Like, you show up and he's imposing and he runs well and he's fast and strong. He, too, on bench with the 21 reps, vertical jump of 37 inches, tied for 5th among all running backs at the combine if you were to compare it over there. And a 4.58 in the 40-yard dash for a guy of his size and his weight is a pretty good number.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle would have been 2nd and 1st at his position of running back. So great day for Chris Brooks. Great day.
All right, we're going to take another break. Come back, put a bow on this show. NFL Pro Day continues from BYU in Provo, Utah, right after this.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
BYU Food to Go's convenient location at 2191 North Canyon Road in Provo makes bringing popular BYU foods to your next event easy. Everything's ready when you need it at the drive and load pickup. You drive in and they load no matter the weather. And stop in the on-site creamery for great BYU chocolate milk and ice cream. BYU Food to Go, bringing campus to your table. Call for details, 801-422-5001.
Mark?
Some of my favorite moments are hearing from the family room, just a chorus of laughter.
Twas your mother's.
BYUtv has been an escape and a refuge for me.
We forgot about random acts.
We love that one.
Today we wanted to do something nice for you.
I see that change on him after that show.
It just brightened everybody's day.
I can do this. I want to live my life in a way that show showed me.
Every day, I help an animal walk again.
I believe that having special needs animals has brought an extra layer of richness to the fabric of our family.
Not many people take in these special needs guys, but in the end, they're the best ones.
It's unbelievable. It's like his disability has disappeared.
Every step just proves to me that these dogs can get through anything.
I came from literally a broken home.
That was the day I met Metro Man, and our rivalry was born.
I'm done.
Wait, what?
How did you do this? You left us in the hands of him! No offense.
No, I'm with you.
Megamind, the city needs you.
I'm the bad guy. I don't save the day, and I don't get the girl. Let's just have fun with this. Come on.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
BYU Sports Nation's on demand. Download the free BYUtv and BYU Radio apps. Subscribe, rate, and review. Baseball officially canceled today, but we do have volleyball tonight against Pepperdine, 9 Eastern time. Perhaps some baseball tomorrow. Softball canceled as well tomorrow. A little snow. You can't play outside. Just indoor sports.
Indoor
sports.
Yes, which is why pro day and volleyball are still happening.
And baseball got a game in yesterday because it's a turf field.
They can drain a ton of moisture there. Yep.
If there's dirt, it's too wet.
Which is why softball cannot play.
Yep.
Again, our question of the day, what is the most impressive thing you've seen at today's BYU Football Pro Day? Ben Peterson on Twitter says Caleb Hayes.
Yeah.
He's crushing it in every drill so far. It's fun to see these players repping the Cougars one last time before they move on to their next adventure. And we think maybe Caleb Hayes has vaulted himself into, at worst, it feels like a preferred undrafted free agent contract.
Yeah, priority free agent.
Yes, priority free agent.
Yeah, excited to watch, Puka and Blake and Jaron hopefully get drafted here.
Saw John Beck moments ago. Saw him. He's here to work with Jaron Hall during his position work, and those things will continue for a few minutes after we wrap up the show and get off the air. But the work is largely done, and now it's the waiting game as we push toward late April, about 5 weeks from now, and wait for the NFL draft.
Yeah, and these guys are, hoping to be drafted in the case of a Gunnar Romney, Chris Jackson, and so on, to have an opportunity to get at least a mini-camp invite.
The mini-camp invite works.
Just to show up. I believe that's what Zane Anderson ended up doing at a BYU, is got into a mini-camp and then stuck, and then maybe it was undrafted free agent, but get an opportunity, take advantage, and then you can stick in the league. Half the league are undrafted free agents.
Let's go. And there are a number of notable players for BYU that were not drafted that are making a name for themselves. Daniel Sorensen, Taysom Hill, just a few off
forget
top
that Taysom wasn't drafted.
Let's go. Our thanks to today's guests, BYU football head coach Kalani Sitake, his former players Sione Takitaki, Tyler Algier, Harvey Longy, and of course our analysts David Nixon and Dave McCann.
Sorry to just fit it. We ran out of time.
For Jarom Jordan, I'm Spencer Linton. Shout out to Jonah Trineman, because apparently the MVP is after his name. We'll see you for BYU volleyball tonight, taking on Pepperdine, 9 Eastern. Go Cougs.